FOIL is something we do when we have to multiply groups of parentheses and combine like terms. FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. Let me show you what that means. So here we have two binomials, parentheses, that we need to be multiplied together. So we go first, outside, inner, and last. Now what these purple lines mean is that we're going to multiply them by each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4 was the order we went in. For the one rainbow, x times x becomes x squared. 2 rainbow becomes 5 times x, or 5x. 3 rainbow, 4 times x, 4x. 4 rainbow, 4 times 5 is 20. In our spaces then, we add all the terms, and now we combine like terms. So like terms are any x that matches. Here we have an x to the first power and an x to the first power. Those combine. 4x plus 5x plus 4x is 9x. X squared, that's the only one that we have to the second power. So x squared. And 20 is the only part without an x. So 20 stands alone. These then get added, and that's your answer. Now, we have to keep in mind the signs are important. So we do the same thing. First, outside, inner, last. X times x is still x squared, nothing changes. X times 3, 3x. This is a positive 3x. So we do just like we did before. For 3, the negative needs to stay with the 7. So we're pretending like it's negative 7 plus. That way the plus operates the same as the last equation did, and the negative will carry with the 7. So it's negative 7 times x. And finally, negative 7 times 3 is 21. Now I put in our pluses. And remember, this is a plus, minus 7 plus. Combine your terms. X to the first powers. We have 3x plus minus 7x. 3 minus 7 gives us a negative 4x. X squared carries down, and 21 carries down. Plus, and make sure that negative stays with the number again. So, or you can drop the plus and leave it as minus. X squared minus 4x plus 21 is your simplified answer. Now, if the coefficients of the x are not 1, maybe it's 4x to start, or they're in a different order. It still works the same way. First, outside, inner, last. 4x stays together, times 6 is 24x. 4x, 3x, and it's positive, so no problems there. We do it just like we would before, is 12x squared. For the third move, we have this negative, make sure it stays with your 2, times 6, negative 12. And lastly, negative 2 times 3x, negative 6x. Put in your pluses. Don't forget to keep your signs. and then combine. The only x squared we have is right here, so 12x squared. Then we have single x, 24 minus 6 is 18. And no x's is negative 12. We can put in our pluses, and then we can drop them if we want to. 12x squared plus 18x minus 12 is our answer. Finally, what happens if we have 3 binomials to multiply by each other? You start with 2. Only select 2 to start with. It'll make it a lot easier. First, outside, inner, last. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we start over here. 2x squared. This times our negative 6, negative 12x, positive 1 times x is 1x, or you could just write x if you wanted to drop the 1. Positive 1, negative 6 is negative 6. Add in our pluses and simplify. 2x squared minus 12x plus 1x minus 6. These two can combine. 2x squared, negative 12 plus 1 is just negative 11x minus 6. Now we carry this guy down. 3 plus 2x. If we want to break these down, we do the same format, but because there's 3 terms here now, we have to multiply each of these by each of these. I'm going to start with the 3. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay? 1, 2, 3. So 3 times negative 6. Remember, this negative stays with the number. Negative 18. And it doesn't matter that we're going out of order. You don't have to start way over here. We're going to get all of them. Just make sure that this gets partnered up with each term. So negative 18, 3 times negative 11x is negative 33x. 3 times 2x to the second power is a positive 6x squared. So those 3 are good. Now we can move on to our second term. And again, we'll go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2x times a negative 6 is negative. Here you'll notice that I'm dropping. Here you'll notice that I'm dropping my pluses in between and just holding my negatives. Look back to the past examples if that gets confusing. So we have negative 12x, negative 22x squared for these two terms. And finally, the 2x times 2x squared is positive 4x to the third, because we have a first power and a squared. Now we can combine our like terms. So we only have 1 with the third power. Gives us 4x cubed. Looks for our squared. 6x. Again, this stays with the number. You have a lot less errors on your signs if you do it that way. So 6 minus 22 gives us a negative number. Negative 16x and x squared carries with it. So we've taken care of this one, and this one, and this one. Now we have just an x term. Again, these hold their signs. Negative 12 plus negative 33 brings us even more negative. We have negative 45x. The x stays the same because we're just adding these. And then finally, we're left with our single number, negative 18. And that's your final answer.